welcome back to HBO Girls Rewatch. I'm Amelia.
And I'm Evan.
And before we jump into today's episode, we just want to remind you to rate and review our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
And if you're up to it, follow us on TikTok and Instagram at HBO Girls Rewatch.
And if you care about us even a little tiny bit, subscribe to our YouTube page. My little sister is beating us in number of subscribers right now, and that's humiliating.
Hey, I think it's time to lean into Lena now. Let's get into that episode.
Welcome back to HBO Girls Rewatch. I'm Amelia.
And I'm Evan. And we're covering today Season 3, Episode 2, Truth or Dare.
Truth or Dare.
Truth or Dare.
Truth
or Dare.
The credits are playing on the TV right now. I just finished watching it for the second time.
Okay, well now Truth or Dare.
Oh, truth.
Truth. What do you dislike most about doing a podcast with me?
Maybe like cleaning the entire house every week by myself.
Oh no. I spent an hour cleaning yesterday.
Really? I couldn't tell.
Oh.
Truth or dare for you?
Dare.
I dare you to
Clean the apartment.
clean the apartment. Clean the bathroom one time. No, I feel really like sad from the
It's not from the episode.
Well,
You woke up this morning, the first thing you told me is like, I'm bad.
I'm feeling amazing, you guys.
Did you see Chidi today in yoga?
I didn't go to yoga.
What did you do?
I dropped off my newly returned and bought a coffee.
That is almost yoga. It's the same aesthetic.
Yeah, literally. I didn't wear a yoga outfit, but I should have.
Yeah, I mean, if you did, you're stretching something. You're stretching your dollar by getting newly.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to get new tops.
Oh my god. And then look at Amelia's little hair today.
I know. Do you guys think it looks stupid or is it like cool and like bringing back the format?
I'm not going to input.
I know.
I like
You're like
it.
treading carefully with me today. This is how I wore my
You're
hair.
leaving rehab.
This is I'm Jessa. This is how I wore my hair every day of elementary school.
No, every day of high school freshman year I wore short sleeve t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt underneath it, even when it's hot out. And it's just because I felt weird in my body.
It's just because I felt weird in my body, of course.
I felt so weird in my body, so I absolutely had to do that.
Yeah, of course.
Last night I left Amelia with an amazing question. It's like with the battle of gender always in our brains. I kind of left Amelia with a question last night. It's like, sometimes I feel like I have the EI of a woman. Emotional intel.
Oh, I was like executive
Functioning.
Not
that. That's
I'm
actually
like,
really
not
deeply
that
impaired
one.
for me.
I totally remember that last night happening.
And you said you would think about it.
And I said I'd think about it and give you an answer right now. I don't think so, no. Have you talked to a girl? It's different.
No, maybe. I don't know if I have.
I think you're more emotionally
Who am I
intelligent
like?
than a lot of boys.
Oh, but it's different than girl.
But it's not girl.
Okay. Well, now you heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
There's literally like, it's
folks.
iPad and it's a sign that says created by Lena Dunham on the TV.
I know, literally. They just picked up Jessa from rehab, and the last scene is kind of really powerful.
I mean, we can talk about this more with our guests.
I
I'm
know.
so excited for the guest today, but
we have two. Can you see how we have 4 mics?
I'm fully a Shoshanna. Like, girl, when it's coming back around, it's like,
no, we can't give it all away
I
now.
can't give it away, but it's like,
We're ruining the entire episode.
Shoshanna is 100% confirmed neurodivergent in this episode.
Shoshanna is so young. I gave her an
ADHD diagnosis mid-ab. I gave her an IQ test.
Maybe she's just hyper.
Attention deficit.
Bump said spike.
Oh god, the TV.
And the TV's on.
Shut the TV off. Our TV, we don't pay for channels, but what has happened is that networks are now investing into fold channels based off one TV show. So this is actually the Walking Dead channel. And other ones we have are Heartland, Baywatch, and they just only play this one show over and over again.
And it's always like a woman looking sad with a gun somewhere close.
And Baywatch, Heartland, all the same story we're learning. And that's the only way you can get 8 seasons if it's a sad woman with a gun.
Literally. Okay, well, god.
No. Oh god.
So we're going to turn the TV off, and then when we're back, we'll be with our 2 awesome guests. Guys, put your hands together for Ashley and Claire.
I didn't move her do first and last.
Ashley Hamilton and Claire Parker.
That's us.
From Celebrity Memoir Book Club. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being on. This is literally heaven.
We're so excited. We're so excited to watch Girls.
Can I say our email address actually is like Ashley and Claire? And I feel like people often think that it's one person named Ashley Claire.
Yeah. I don't think it's actually Ashley and Claire. I think it's just Claire Ashley.
And that's like our Zoom.
I think it's Claire Ashley.
And then we'll both pop up on Zoom meetings with people as Claire Ashley and Claire Ashley. And they're like, and you can always tell they're stressed because they don't want to admit that they don't know who's who because they've like called a meeting with us.
Right.
No, that's literally a brand that like boutiques are buying from. It's like one of those spin-off, like Silver Fox and
no, it's like an ironic Claire's throwback.
Yes,
like Ashley Claire.
Yes.
No, I feel like it's like a new like Vera Bradley, but like Claire, just like some like sorority girl.
It's for Alabama rushing exclusively. It only exists 2 months of the year.
It's like pleated skirts and like racerback tanks.
Wait, you guys should do that. I'd invest in that company.
It's a merch company now.
It'd be great. It'd be two girls who have no idea what they're doing, just like being like, do girls from Alabama like this?
Yeah.
Do 17-year-olds love this?
Every blonde girl named Bella is like, yeah.
No, but Alabama's actually so New York now in a weird way. Like all the girls here are kind of applying there. The South is
they're trend-setting.
No, literally they're trend-setting.
I honestly feel like it's because of TikTok. I feel like they're like, I want to be like, they're like, I'm a fucking New Yorker. I can beat this Bama Rush system.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, you stupid hoe. You think that
I famously couldn't. I didn't get into a sorority.
Really?
Yeah, but also a Bama Rush sorority, they would have killed you.
And also actually more humiliating, I would have gotten into a Bama sorority, but like a bad one.
Yeah.
And I'd rather not to get into any sororities than get into only a bad sorority.
Right, because you're kind of stuck with those girls for life.
Yeah. And that's like humiliating.
Yeah, you'd have to carry that with you.
Well, they don't actually like the out-of-staters.
They don't.
Clearly,
but like also I feel like from the outside looking in, you're like, oh, I know how to beat this system. And it's like, this is a generations old system of like classism, racism, and fear. Like you can't get in. You can't beat it. Just you watch it on TikTok.
I don't know how to blow out my hair. I would get cut day one. They wouldn't even let me into the school.
There's one girl from my high school dance team that got into like a good one in Bama.
Oh my God.
And we were like,
what's she
like?
Where are you from?
Did it change her?
Texas.
Oh, good for you. Okay, good for her.
She was training all of high school. Like she knew what she was doing.
See, that's what I like. People are training for it.
Yeah,
from childhood.
That I knew who went to USC. Who was trying to get into a sorority there. This would have been literally 10 years ago. And I remember somebody that was her mom's friend offered to write a rec letter, but it was like somebody they didn't think was in good standing. So they like had to divert the rec letter because they were like, your recommendation will only hurt me. I only want better recommendations.
Oh my God.
It's a tough game out there, but she won it.
She made it.
Well, you're talking about it because like at UT, everyone's just from Texas except for one sorority where it's all Jewish girls from out of state. And it's only 100% Jewish sorority in all of the US. Because
my brother went to UT and my dad thought he would marry someone from that sorority. And instead he lives in Fort Worth, Texas now. And he wears cowboy boots, literally recreationally.
Really?
Yeah.
It changed him.
That's so, but I know that path so well.
It's everyone from your high school.
It's everyone from my high
school.
school.
Amelia was telling me that every girl in her middle school friend group confirmed is now married, 25.
Yeah, which I'm like, okay.
I feel like a baby. I'm getting married and I'm like, ew. I'm like, don't know that I'll ever refer to him as my husband.
No,
right,
I feel like
this is my boyfriend.
By it. Yeah.
It's like fiance, but
I would never call him my fiance. That's even worse than husband, but husband still feels like
husband
not right.
is still like a legal title. Fiance is a made up word.
Every time someone says this is my husband, I'm like, what are you trying to prove? Those aren't my values. I'm not impressed. I know it's just legally the truth, but I'm like, shut up. I feel like you're trying to like throw down right now.
So
would you go to partner route?
No.
And that because that's also almost as bad.
I actually think that'd be worse if you started saying partner and then people found out it was
just
a husband.
Say his name. Yeah. Just refer to by first name only.
You also what if I like fully pretended that I was in a gay marriage? I could go partner because his full name is Mackenzie.
That's actually a really hot guy's name.
He pulls it off well.
It's like I like it when girls do guys and guys do girls.
And I don't think he knows it's like a girl's name. He's always like, oh look, that person's name is Mackenzie too. And I'm like, yes, of course. But I what if I like really just played like Mackenzie was a girl?
That could be huge.
Yeah, I honestly think it'd be really good for us.
I love it.
You can be gay podcasts.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. Okay, wait, let's jump into Girls.
Ooh. Amelia's on target.
Where were you two when Girls first came out?
I was in college. I remember it explicitly. I remember seeing a bus with the poster on it.
Oh my God.
Really?
And it was like, and I remember hearing that they were all Nepo babies. And I remember like I like very much was, when did it come out? Do you know what year?
2012.
2012.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would have been a sophomore/junior in college, and it was like
Huge.
I was very aware of it because these were like us.
Okay,
Right.
I have a very distinct memory because I actually was. You might have been a freshman in college, or you were a sophomore because I was a junior in college, and I was doing a semester in Los Angeles. I majored in television and film at Syracuse,
Yeah, I
and
was
they
about
were
to
like
say,
one of the
that's so
first
Syracuse,
like
what you just
SULA
said.
programs,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the first semester in LA, like pseudo abroad programs where they would like send kids to do internships in LA, and I was interning at this TV production company. And I remember when Girls premiered being in the like coffee kitchen and getting a coffee and hearing two executives being like, I watched that show Girls last night. It's so interesting to like get an actual insight into the minds of like young 20-something girls. Like this is like actually how they think. I can't believe it. And I watched the show and I was so angry that these old dudes, instead of being like, oh wow, this is like an interesting like kind of like satire on being like, oh, that's what girls are thinking, I like wouldn't watch it. I didn't watch it for like 7 years. I was
Oh
like,
my
this is so
God.
fucked up that like this dumb bitch is writing a show that like old men think that this is what girls are like.
No, you were literally striking.
I was so mad.
Yeah, I would be mad too.
That's so funny though to be like, and that's not gonna be a thing I watch then.
That was so
I was like,
Judd
fuck
Apatow.
you, fuck this bitch, fuck everything.
I remember by season 3 or 4, I was in some acting class. I took one acting class, and I remember being like really mad about Girls because at that point I felt not one of the characters had gotten better in any direction. And I was like, it's one thing to be like, people can be messes, but I was like, for everybody to be a mess romantically, professionally, as a friend, and as a family member, and personally, and then never get better in any of those situations. I was like, I just don't feel that represents anybody I know who's like failing in all aspects of life for years on end. And I was in this acting class and this girl goes, I don't know, I feel like it represents us. And I was like, oof, girl, that's a you problem. I'm like, I don't know, show up at your job better. Like, I mean, one of those things is in your control.
Yeah.
Just choose to do a better job and be a good
Just
friend.
one.
That takes nothing. Call your friend when she's sick and ask if she needs soup. Like, you need to then maybe take a look at your life and in one section, choose to be better. Because I like looked around at my friends and I'm like, we're all in different places of our lives, like struggling. But there's like a general slope in some, I was like, get it changed, grow up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I have a lot of things that at 22 I was like fucking up, but that by 25 I was just like, I don't just show up on time. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know.
These
Well, it's Lena Dunham's world, right? And like, I guess she was showing up on time, but enough. I don't know. It's like, what is the story behind her trying to like create a 25-year-old in these 4 different directions?
That's like that's the Tina Fey of it all, is when you're a woman portraying a version of yourself that's like a dud.
Yeah.
The irony is, of course, in real life, you are hyper successful and have a TV show about yourself.
Exactly.
Literally.
And that's like the
Yeah.
double standard that's, I think, very hard for them because they have to stay relatable, but clearly, personally, they have an ability to get it together.
I feel like they go so far in the other direction. It's the same
Yeah.
with like Broad City. Like they had to be so like on top of their shit, but their characters are so bad and dumb.
Well, I feel like she's writing teenagers. Like we were talking about this a second ago,
Yes.
but she's writing like these 24-year-olds as teenagers in some way.
Totally.
And it's so weird how they're all like constantly talking, but like never relating to each other. Do you know what I mean? Like there is
They're
They're
this
not
like
really
weird
conversating.
Yeah,
It's
there is
more
this
like-
effect
yeah.
of them like saying things at each other and like having separate storylines that like intersect with each other. Like in this episode, not to jump ahead, but like the scene where Shoshanna is like cast out to the vending machines and then Hannah like comes in with a completely different energy being like, yeah, we just like kicked you out to have sex while we like go pick our friend up from rehab, and like they're just in like 2 completely different
Yeah.
worlds like talking near each other.
This is actually how I talk to Amelia. I will
Yeah, that
say.
is kind of true.
We're like having 4 different conversations, nothing to do with each other.
Was Jessa supposed to be in their college as well?
Yeah, so they all went to Oberlin. She only went to Oberlin for like a year, and then she dropped out and like traveled the world.
Yeah.
I don't believe she would go back to the friend group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I'm like, I don't talk to a single person from freshman year.
I also do believe like college group friends tend to be more homogenous. Do you know what I mean? Because you've like
totally. It's the
you've
exact same
been coming
girl.
through the same
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The one thing that I did love about watching Girls was seeing them in Brooklyn because I was like, Greenpoint,
Yes.
Williamsburg. That's where I was in my 20s. And when I was in college and it came out, I thought I would never move to Williamsburg. Not because it was Brooklyn, but because it was so trendy and expensive that I was like, why would you? Like, I just assumed I'd live wherever was cheapest. And then I
Right.
ended up getting the cheapest deal in Williamsburg.
Oh, beautiful.
I know. I had a really incredible deal there. It was like kind of all I had for a while. And then at COVID, when all the prices came down, I like had an identity crisis because I wasn't getting the
No,
best
of
deal anymore.
course.
But
Right.
then post-COVID, when it went back up, I was
You were on
Back
top
in
again.
You're still
business.
best deal. Oh my God. And you left.
yeah, I left.
Well, I feel like what is a better dopamine rush than when like your hometown or the college you went to is mentioned in a show? I'm like, okay, now I'm invested. I'm here.
And like they understand
Yeah.
me completely.
Literally.
The fact that they even referenced that corner or that deli that I like know of. Like I remember
literally.
there's like a bunch of, I'm from the suburbs of Chicago, and there's like a bunch of TV shows and things that are like from there or referenced there. And every time I'm like, they get me.
They got me.
This is a show about me.
Literally. Okay, wait. Let's jump into
Oh my God.
synopsis.
Oh, yeah.
Minute to
Synops.
win it.
Adam, wake up, wake up. It's time to go pick up Jessa from rehab. And I guess Shoshana's joining as well. And she's going to love this diner. And then they're kind of in that car and Adam's punching the radio because he does not like Maroon 5 for a single second.
They have to go pick up Jessa from rehab in upstate in New York. And Hannah is like trying to write and like is really loving that her boyfriend's taking her on the journey. And Shoshana's being so random core. And they go on a hike and then they get to rehab. And Jessa's like, hey.
Okay.
Hotel.
Well, they spent like, this was actually the
right.
farthest rehab in the world. It was like still, I think they were still in New York, right? But it was like more than one day's
she
drive.
mentioned Woodstock. I'm like, that's 2 hours.
Yeah, I
They
think
got
less.
lost. They were doing laps.
driving and driving and driving for hours, and then they had to spend the night in a motel, and then they like sexile Shoshana.
And then Shoshana is like, does Jessa even need rehab? Which I think is like a valid question.
No,
She's like, I don't know.
literally.
She's doing fine. She keeps winning. And Hannah's like, I mean, she went through a divorce. And Shoshana's like, yeah, where she came out with a lot of money. She can't stop. This is just how she acts. She just has fun all the time.
That was perfect. And then Jessa didn't actually have to go to rehab the whole time. And Hannah's like, LOL, why did you do that? And then Adam's pissed. And then they're like, actually, I love you. Never leave New York.
Aww. It was really a sweet episode.
It's a quick episode, too. It's like there's not a lot that happened, but it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last episode, Jessa was being evil in rehab, and this episode,
Oh,
they...
and Marnie's in Chinatown. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Marnie.
Oh yeah,
We forgot to
Marnie's.
mention.
They like couldn't have Marnie be in the episode, but they were like, we have to acknowledge that she's a series
needs a
regular.
paycheck,
Yeah. We're like, she's required by contract to be in it for a second. And Rita Wilson was there helping her move in.
She's so kimchi or Sephora. I love that. Okay, now we're gonna move on to our a little fun question. Girl, what girl are you?
I think I'm definitely half Marnie, half Hannah.
Mm.
I think I'm an uptight bitch who's judgmental, but also like self-indulgent and self-involved.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I am half Hannah, half Shosh.
Sometimes
because-
Shoshana says things and like, this is an Ashley quote.
No, when Ashley goes off on TikTok, yeah, I love that. That's Hannah.
I feel like I am like kind of a bitch, and I can be like a little bit uptight and like intense about certain things, but I'm also just like a fucking idiot who's trying to have a nice time.
Shosh just wants to have
So
fun.
funny.
Shosha's definitely like in rewatching. I think like I like Jessa the best. Like if I had to know one of them, I would actually want to know Jessa because she always seems to me like at least she has a fucking sense of self. At least she has like some self-respect.
Also, like post Japan Shosh was, I think, pretty good.
But I really like Shoshana.
Mm.
Yeah.
I find now that I'm not her age anymore and I don't have to see her as representing me, I'm like, she's funny and chill and actually the only one that you would hire, I think, for a job.
In this episode, I wrote it down because it was such a funny line when like they're in the car and they're talking about boredom, and Adam is like a pretentious little
Yes.
fuck, and he's like, boredom is for idiots. There's no reason to be bored. And Shosh is just like staring into space, and she's like, I'll never be bored as long as there's Halloween. And I was like, that's the funniest thing anyone's ever said.
I dying laughing in my room. I've never laughed hard in my life. Amelia's like, you're performing. I'm like, no, that was the funniest thing I've ever heard.
So
And then the way she
I
turns her
loved when she
head.
grabs that rocking chair and she's like, I didn't get any food, so I got a souvenir. And she's like, my friend is always one of these. She's gonna be so jealous.
Literally.
I always
I thought
measure
she-
trips that way, right? You're like the money you have stored money spent. If you don't buy food, you can get a magnet.
I have to say I've never not bought food, so I
Yeah.
cannot
That's really
relate.
important.
But
It
if
is
I'm on a
crazy.
road trip, I'm like, it would be rude and disrespectful to the culture of Woodstock, New York, for me to not also get.
Pancakes.
Also,
Yeah.
where did the chair go? Because it's in the back seat, and then it's like where did it go? It's not on the roof.
It'd be so funny if, like, you know, when you get leftovers from a restaurant and you're like, I'm going to eat these later. And then you stop at a store and try a shirt on and leave it in the dressing room. I feel like that rocking chair got left.
Yeah.
It's
Just at a
the rehab.
sunglass area of a 7-Eleven.
It's also so funny when they're at the diner and she's like, I would die if they had turkey bacon.
Yeah. Hannah's like, if they don't, I'll take regular bacon. Shosha's like, there's no way they have that.
It's the
She's like
funniest
talking to
thing.
no one. No one's ever talking to anyone in that show. She's just like having her own conversation about the menu, like to space.
The calories is so funny. They don't have A, I'm not eating because they don't have calories, and B, that's illegal. I'm like, does Westville have calories? I didn't know.
Yeah, probably.
Did they? Yeah,
Probably.
I
that's
actually
important.
think it is illegal to not have calories on the menu if you have like over a certain number of
Oh.
places.
Okay, so Shauna's used to Westville, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Good for her.
So this episode's so fun because it's the first time we really see Shosh and Adam like together, and both their energies is so like funny.
Yeah.
Oh, the spoon. What's your favorite
And
utensil?
his brain almost explodes. He's like, "Why do you act this way?" I love it.
And now Amelia. Girl, what girl are you?
This episode, I'm Hannah. The way Hannah is lying in the field and she's like, I can't go on. That is me every day.
No, I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, you always like to go on hikes, so it's cool that.
I do like to hike actually. But I would be in like a random dress being like, I can't live this way.
Amelia wants to, I'm begging Amelia to go on a solo trip to find herself and leave me alone for 2 days, which I love her, but.
I'm begging her to go find herself for me
Yeah,
to be alone.
Evan's like, can you spend $2,000 leaving for 3 days? I'm like,
But the trip would be around hiking.
Yeah, I'll go to Maine.
How expensive could it be to hike?
I know,
It's
right?
just outside.
The ground is free.
You're absolutely right. I need to go on a hike. I will.
You need to go on a hike.
What girl are you this week?
I'm so Shoshanna this episode.
I agree.
And it's just like her energy being so spastic and never actually getting fully understanding what's happening. Like, I wouldn't think Jessa needs to go to rehab.
Can I say something? In this episode, I also would be a Shoshana because I love an errand. Yesterday, I was
Yeah.
saying to my boyfriend that like my favorite thing to do is run an errand. I really like am never happier in my life. I ran an errand on Sunday that required me to e-bike, take the path,
Oh my
take a
God.
bus, take an Uber, and then take a ferry. Can you believe it was the greatest
Can
day
I
of my
ask
life?
what you did?
I went to Jersey City to buy hurricanes.
Oh
Like
my
the
god.
drinks?
No, they're like what you put over
Can
candles.
I say something?
Yeah.
Oh.
You have been talking about running hurricane errands a lot on like our Patreon and to me personally and to other people, and I feel like you never explain what they are, but it's not a thing I'd ever heard
I've
of
never
until
heard it.
until you said it 7 or 8 times. I still didn't know what you
I
were
don't.
talking
I don't know
about.
why they call it. It's like what you put over candles outside. It's like the glass tube that goes around a candle. It's called a hurricane.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it named after the storm?
I guess it's like to prevent the storm. It's like you name your
Oh.
fear. You know what I mean? Like, well, what if a hurricane were to come and blow this candle out? And you'd say, I'll fight hurricane with hurricane.
Wow, that's really powerful.
But so in that way, the fact that Shoshana went on this weeks-long trek to
It was
upstate
so
New
long.
York for something that she didn't even believe in, I was like, that's me. I will walk
Yeah.
anywhere with anyone.
Oh no, if someone's driving a car, I'm like, I don't want to drive it, but I want to be in that car.
In
Yeah.
college, my friends had this like walk economy where if you needed to go on an errand, you could ask someone to like do a walk with you, and then you like could cash that walk in at any time. And I literally was not allowed to be included because they said I would crash the economy with my inflation because one of my walks is so valueless. 'Cause I would just be like, I have class, but I'll come to CVS. Where are you going? I'll come.
That's so funny.
I'm like, you know what? Was that for safety?
No, just
Or
like, you
just
know,
for
if you don't want to
fun?
walk 10 blocks by yourself, if you go with a friend, now that's like a trip.
No, that's so. Wait,
I
that's
love
so
going on a walk with
fun.
someone. I love running an errand.
Well, because I was in a little meeting this morning about like we're helping naming a fitness product. And they're talking about how all exercise now is like social, and they're trying to like target the product with like making it social. It's very interesting where like we as a culture right now are errands are becoming social, gym is becoming social. Like we want to be little social creatures.
It's so much better because the other
Yeah.
thing is, it's so not normal to like go one-on-one dinner with people. I actually
Yeah.
don't think that that's a normal thing.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I feel like the people who are fighting monogamy should actually be fighting like getting dinner with a friend because it's so weird to just sit down and be like, okay, 2 hours, go over everything. It's like, no, let's not face each other. Let's open up. Let's incorporate each other in a day in an inexpensive way because we had to go do these things anyway.
Yeah, or it's
Let's
like
be
I wanna,
productive so it's not a not waste of time, but it's like let's incorporate each other.
I also
Yeah.
feel like the like level of intentional plans making is very stressful. Like even incorporating someone in a day, I'm like, that is still hard. I don't know. I feel like I used to run into people a lot more. And then you're like, I just want to like catch up with you at a party. and not be
Right.
like bound to you in
Well,
this
it's so
way.
stand-up culture, what you're
Yeah.
describing. It's like all my friends, I'm like, I don't have to plan to ever make plans with you because I'll
Because we
run into
run
it at a
into each
scary
other.
open mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't make eye contact with you for the full hour, but like we'll be in the same room.
Open mics are the last third place.
I
It's
think
so
so.
true.
It's like
They
Starbucks
are.
and an open mic
It's
at
like
a sushi lounge.
The perfect way to see people because you can say hi or not. And you could be like, I'm going to leave my house for an hour. I'll see somebody I know and then I'll come back home and have done something without like having to reach out.
Yeah.
No, literally. I started dating a guy that does comedy too. I'm like, I don't always have to make plans with him because I'm like, we're gonna go to the same scary
Yeah.
open mic.
It's like being in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. That's such a good point.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Okay, we have to move on. We have to lean into Lena.
Okay, so something fun that we know because our friend used to work on Girls
Ooh.
my
as
God.
like a PA, and she said that what would happen a lot and hold production up a lot is that Lena would actually get into fights with all the other actresses.
Really?
And then as soon as they got into a fight in real life, she would like run back to her trailer and they would write that into the scene.
You're kidding.
And so I have to say, knowing that and going back and rewatching and the end conclusion of Jessa having abandoned her and Hannah just being like, but I just missed you. I do believe that that was directly picked out of their lives, where I think probably her whole high school and adult experience, Lena really was upset. Lena was obsessed with, who's the actress?
Jemima.
Jemima. And Jemima's probably always just like bouncing.
Yeah.
And Lena would just like miss her genuinely.
That's a TikTok clip.
That checks out because Jemima's like, we're not friends anymore because she cared too much about her job and she would like take our personal life and just really.
I was thinking about it so much because I just had a conversation with somebody about like what people owe each other as artists, like how much are you allowed to take from life? Bad art friend. We were talking about the book Yellowface, and I was thinking one of Lena's problems, I think, in real life is that she doesn't think she owes anybody anything. That any conversation you have with her in real life can be and will be used in a way that doesn't make her look good, but also makes you look awful. And it's just like there's no peace in knowing her.
And can I say that one of the things I found like really interesting and like oddly self-aware and unlikable about this episode is her in the car just whining about how there was nothing to write about. Like I think that's so interesting and probably so real to her to have been like experiencing things, but because they didn't feel like cinematic, just being like, there's like nothing's happening to me. No one's interesting. Like nothing's cool. Nothing's fun. And then like it's insulting to the people around you when you're like, being around you guys isn't worth writing about. But then also it's rude to be like, being around you is worth writing about. I'm going to mine our personal experiences and like take your life like that.
Also, me and Ashley know we used to have a podcast about getting into fights with each other a lot. That it's a really
Are you kidding?
no.
That
Yeah.
is so.
Wait,
Wait, what's the
that's
name?
so
I'm
fun.
listening after.
You
this.
can't. We
You
had to take it
can't.
offline.
Well, I'll find it.
It was called "We're in a Fight with Claire and Ashley."
Oh
That
my
is
God.
so fun.
YF for short. It was not fun because every week we had to get on mic, and even if we hadn't had a fight, we had to be like, well, what kind of annoyed me or what kind of pissed me off about you this week? And then you like rehash these fights all the time, and it keeps you it's the Jeanette or the Nanette thing of like when you're living in that space, and also when you're looking at the world through that lens, it does like make problems exist where there are none. And I do think
Wow.
to know her in real life,
It's reality
when
TV,
she's always
yeah.
she's like always reality TV producing herself in real life. And I'm sure people are like,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up and be normal.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Like,
I
even
know when I said it's so
reading-
fun, I meant fun for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was
Like reading like
Bad
the
for us.
recap of her wedding or something like that. That's like probably the most recent dose of Lena we've gotten lately. And like the way that they're like, and she like pulled from designers she knew to like get this last second wedding put together. And it's like, why was it a last second wedding? Do you know
Yeah,
what Like it didn't
exactly.
need to be a last second
Right.
wedding. What was the rush? They just decided that. And like I do feel like it really speaks to like who she is to be constantly like, I have to like force something uncomfortable to happen in order to like have content.
Yes. Huh.
That's so her.
Well, that's when people are like, I do it for the plot. Like, Lena Dunham is
Yeah.
always doing something for the plot. And she's not even just in her dating life. It's truly every situation she's in, she's doing it
Yeah.
for the
And I
damn
think
plot.
this speaks to Ashley's point earlier about how
Yeah.
nobody's ever in conversation with each other. They're all just like talking at each other from different levels. I think when you have that mindset of everything is content, how is this moment content, and you're putting people in roles, and like you know this from improv, you can't predict what other people are going to say.
Yeah.
I feel like you are constantly having conversations that aren't really being reciprocated because in your mind you're like casting everybody. And I think
Right.
even in this episode you see the way she's cast Jessa as her wild, crazy, out of control, on the brink of death friend, because that's like a great character for a book. And Shoshanna's the only person who's like, I don't even know if that's true really. I think you're
Yeah.
playing into it because it's actually better for Hannah for Jessa to be sick.
No, literally. And it also is like we never even find out what she went to rehab for.
Yeah. And even
Like,
the breaking it out, if she really was sick, like breaking her out is only keeping her sick. Like that enabling of, well, it's good for me to have a wild friend.
Literally.
No, rehab is so. I mean, rehab is so weird, but rehab is so weird. Like, Amelia didn't realize for so long that you can go to rehab for mental illness, and that's such like a. I mean, this isn't a mental health. This isn't a mental health rehab. It sounds like it's people suffering with addiction. But it's like we've had friends that try to go to rehab for mental health reasons, and they're like, if you haven't literally killed yourself, they won't let you in.
Well, I was
Still
gonna
a
say
quote.
it's expensive.
Yeah.
That was not a state-run
No.
rehab.
No.
So I was like, who's paying for this? What was the decision?
Also, why were they so bad at it there? Like, all
Oh
of
my
them are
God.
so mad that Jessa's so bad, but it's like you've had to have like
She can't be the worst.
All the
Yeah, she
nurses
can't
are
be the
addicts
worst.
She
too.
can't be the worst. And also, like, why was the guy who like led group therapy, like, this was obviously very expensive rehab. So what is this world where like none of the counselors have any control over any of the patients? Like, how is that possible? And like, then stop sending her to group. Why is she getting kicked out?
yeah, it's like there has to be another path for her to take.
And like, obviously she's like triggering and upsetting every single other person there. Like, what is happening?
I just feel
that
like
they're
she was
just,
at like a Malibu Promises Berkshires. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It felt very
Totally.
much like a wellness center.
It was just it was for rest and retreat. It was Canyon Ranch almost. What was
Yeah.
But I
happening
would still
there.
feel like there should have been someone there who was like, stop talking like this. Like when
Mm.
she was going on that tirade in group therapy, I was like,
Was
surely.
that in our episode?
It's the one before.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I
no,
watched
no.
2
Bring
episodes.
it. No, that's
No,
perfect.
no, I was given parameters and I lived within that world. I'm not going to be penalized and look stupid on this podcast because I did the work asked of me.
I just feel like they let her talk more than,
No, 100%.
like, that makes no sense.
It's like they just wanted it's of course for the plot of
Yeah.
the show, but it's like I'm like, why would anyone, if you've ever done group therapy, it's like they truly do have more of a hand in what you're allowed to say and like how they guide the conversation.
And like how you're allowed to address other people. And I also feel like it's kind of Lena Dunham writing her fantasy of like what it would be like to go to rehab and just kind of like be the smartest one there who like runs the conversation. Like,
Yeah.
I think that that's how she thinks she would be if she like finally got
Who did we
sent
read?
to rehab.
Who did we read that was like, I was just too smart for rehab? And it was like, no, you're not. Because if you were so, like, it's not smart to be an alcoholic on the brink of death all the time. Oh,
Yeah.
Brooke Shields' mom.
Oh,
Brooke Shields
yeah.
kept being like, my mom wishes she could have gone to rehab, but she was smarter than everybody. So she just couldn't get help. And I'm like, yeah, because that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I think the smartest thing to do would be like
Your
surrender.
Your alcoholism and the counselor do a chess match, and the winner
Well, it's kind
gets
of
to
the
determine
old
your
man
sobriety.
that's like grooming Jessa in this episode is having the same mentality that you're talking about. Like he goes to every single group therapy session high.
Yeah.
Like he has a stash of pills that he's like taking. He's done it so many times. It's like he's only there to like show others in his life that he's doing better. And it's never actually for himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I thought it was crazy that Jess would go, because rehab doesn't work unless you want it to work.
Mm.
And it's just, I'm like, who has $60,000?
It's her grandma's paying
Right.
for it to like buy her.
Was-
She'll get Uggs and like a stipend from her grandma if she goes to rehab. So it's
Okay.
never
Get
her
housing
choice.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I one time heard Lena Dunham say she thought Joan Rivers would be like the only person who could play both Shoshanna and Jessa's grandmother. And I have to say that was one of the most insightful things I've ever heard from her. I think about it all the time. When I was watching this, I go, of course, that is like the beginning that could bring these two people.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
That's so funny.
That's so
It really
funny.
does
I think
make
she said it when
sense.
Joan Rivers died, which is actually like so hilarious that
That's
she was
perfect
like, Joan
timing.
Rivers died? I have something about me. The way that this affects me is in a hypothetical reality that never happened. I would have cast her in my TV show. Okay, good to know. It's very throwing up an Instagram photo of a celebrity you met one time and being like, this affects me personally.
Oh
I
my
always
God.
forget their cousins.
I know
It's
it.
so
I guess
random.
that explains when you're saying Jessa would never have come back to the group. Yes, she would have if she was like burning every other bridge. And she's like, well, my fucking idiot cousin and her group of merry men like wouldn't cast, like they think I'm cool.
No, but they only know Shoshanna because Shoshana's her cousin.
Yeah, like Jessa kind of
Yeah,
like,
but, like-
yeah.
I wonder if it like keeps them both like slingshotting in and out. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I feel like they both have no reason to be friends with Hannah and Marnie.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like Shoshana doesn't like anyone. As we like watch the show, we find out she like really isn't feeling connected to anyone. And like Lena and Jessa have this like weird codependent relationship that somehow formed in 6 months at school. God knows how.
Right.
And then Marnie's kind of just there.
I guess Lena does seem exactly like the kind of person, or Hannah and Lena seem like the kind of person who like make one friend at overnight camp for like 3 weeks and then spend the next 8 years being like, my best friend, we only see each other once a year, but she's my best friend.
That's exactly how I feel about the Lena and Taylor Swift friendship.
Yes.
Is I find it very believable because I think Lena needs a lot, and because Taylor's so busy, like you can't actually expect Taylor Swift to be a good friend to you. I think anyone who's friends with Lena Dunham more than a week at a time needs a breather. But I think Taylor, every time Lena is sick, she can send flowers. Every time she's like, I think like Taylor is really good about writing the note, checking in, sending the text. Like, here's a box of chocolates that I know you loved one time from sleepaway camp or whatever. And that to Lena's like, she is such a good friend. And then Taylor never has to get burnt out because they don't
Lena's
actually hang
famously
out.
never present. So it's like she doesn't need a lot to feel like you're being a good friend as long as you like aren't destroying her life.
Yeah.
I have a few friends like that.
I could think of a few.
I feel like watching it now, I think I binge watched the show before or maybe like during my last relationship, and I didn't realize how like stressful for me it would be to like watch this guy who has nothing in common with his girlfriend and is just like kind of mean and is so mean about her friends, but then like says one nice thing and then she is just like, yeah, he's so nice. Like when he's like, oh, she is my best friend, I'm like, oh, we're supposed to fucking fall for this shit. Fuck off. There's
she's his best friend. He has no other friends. Do we ever see him with a friend in his
life?
No.
He has no other friends besides Ray, and even their friendship is like crazy.
They're not real friends.
I felt that too, that like I think I used to be like, why would Adam be with Hannah? But then I watched this episode, I go, that is such a 23-year-old girl thing to think. Adam is a nightmare. And anybody with any boundaries or self-respect would not be with him. He's always blowing up. He's always yelling. He's so volatile.
When he pulls over and he's like, it's time to hike, I'm like, you need to be normal for one day.
When he says, why can't we have sex? I can't sleep unless I come.
Crazy.
You're like, this is disgusting.
It's like, Shosh is literally, like, that is some little child. Like, the fact that Shosh is acting truly 12 the whole trip, and then you're like, can we get rid of her?
And no offense, I don't want a boyfriend who any day of the week can just go pick up my friend from rehab on a 3-day long excursion.
That's a really good point.
Get a fucking job or have at least a coffee date on the calendar. You have nothing going on.
Yeah,
like you have nothing going on in your life. This is insane.
So
and Shoshana says that. She's like, it's so great that you're with her because you never have anything to do.
Yeah. And like, thank God Shosh called his ass out. But the way he says she is my best friend, and then Shosh is just like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. It's like, no, babe, it's not sweet.
It's not sweet. But like watching them, I'm like, what do they even talk about? Like, what could Hannah and Adam possibly ever speak about? And like, he's so insufferable. And I feel like for so long, the show was like, the narrative was like, why would Adam be with Hannah? And I'm like, why would anyone be with Adam? He's awful.
Can I say, so I watched the next few episodes, and 2 or 3 episodes later, her editor dies and she feels nothing. And the whole episode is about how like she is incapable of caring about anyone but herself. And I was like, you are both evil, awful people.
That's why it works.
That's why it works, I guess.
It's so crazy. And yeah, the way that Adam like wanted to like Shosh is like sleeping in their room. Just fucking don't. You've been a nightmare this whole trip. You've been so mean the whole time. You won't let anyone listen to music. You made them take an impromptu hike. Like, stop. Just don't fuck your girlfriend while there is another person in the room.
It's so funny when Hannah's like, you can come back now. We finished. We're just cleaning up.
They really
the way that she says that, like, why aren't you back yet? We're already done. Like, as if Shoshana was supposed to be at the door listening.
Yeah.
With a Chex
And then,
Mix.
okay, that's
why did she get Chex Mix? She was allergic to.
I know.
That girl's crazy.
It's so funny.
And that scene was so crazy with Hannah just like sloppy post-sex and like kneeling and being like, yeah, it was pretty good. And I'm like,
where's the dumbest glasses in the next scene?
She does not mean how was it for real. She's on the floor in a motel.
She's
like
sipping a root beer. It's the only meal she had today.
like, don't like say sorry.
I do love that Hannah's like, are you scared about college? And Shosh, or graduating college.
God.
And Shosh is like, no. And Hannah's like, well, it's kind of the best time. Like, it's only going to get worse from here. And Shosh is like, that's something only poor people say. Like, dude, my job is going to be so good. I'm not worried at all.
I don't know. I like do have a real thing about people who act like it never got better after college. I'm like, well, you're a fucking agent. You're an adult with agency.
Right.
Choose a better like work on it then.
Work on it. Yeah. The way
I'm on
Hannah's like,
Shosha's side, honestly.
Me
Oh,
too,
me
though,
too.
because Hannah's like, it's so hard to have a job and like do anything. And Shosha's like, I'm actually really competent and it's gonna work out great. And I'm like, yeah, it will, girl.
Shosha's gonna be an amazing project manager for a
Yes,
startup.
exactly.
Or some amazing.
Oh my god, you know who?
brand.
I have something for you later.
Oh,
She just reminds me a lot of this influencer I'm obsessed with. But when I say influencer, I mean a girl with like 12,000 followers on TikTok, so nobody would get it.
micro.
I do. Okay. In this episode, I love Shosh, and I think I will always love Shosh. I like, the only reason I say I'm not a full Shosh is because I have too much respect for her, and I know that I'm not. I know that I can never fully be her. But watching her be like an actual kid in this episode was crazy.
It was
haunts,
truly
yeah.
the way Shosh acts in this episode is so like heightened compared to every other episode we've seen so far. Don't you feel?
Like
It's
when
the most, yeah.
it's when she's in the car and she's being silly and like whatever, I'm like, that's fine. But then in the hotel room,
Yes, when she's like bouncing,
and
watching the
chewing
TV
on
show.
her nail and like bouncing on
I
the
found that
bed,
to be too much.
I was like, this is a lot.
She's really
Okay.
neurodivergent, and she
And
kind of just
then-
finds coping mechanisms. It feels like.
And then when they play Never Have I Ever, I was like, for the love of God, you are a senior in college. Like, you're not the way that, and like,
No,
not
I
even
know.
just the fact that the dares made no sense, but like also the way she was saying them, the way she was like an actual 7-year-old being like, and I did, no, yes, okay. I don't, oh my God. I was like, what is happening?
I find Truth or Dare to be one of the hardest creative exercises of our
I was gonna say
generation.
though,
though.
what I
Yeah.
will give her is what, like a dare, like what are they?
They're
It's
so
what are
hard.
they?
What are they? But then she dares Adam to kiss Hannah and is proud of herself.
Someone always has
and
to
I'm like,
lick
I
something.
understand. I would understand if she had a really hard time coming up with a dare and then she said one that lame and then was like, fuck, that was my dare. You know what I mean?
Can I
like, fuck, I
say-
said something
she like
stupid.
claps like a
But
seal.
she's-
She's
yeah.
like, yeah, that was cute.
She was going somewhere with the ice machine.
Me too.
I felt like
Yeah,
that was a
yeah,
good
yeah.
Put your
path.
hand in the ice
Yeah.
machine.
Or even do like an ice bucket challenge.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot you
there
can do
was
with
something to
ice.
do there.
Pelt Hannah with ice. I dare you.
That-
Also, just the idea that Adam is just like
That's
truth
why
or
trust
dare.
your
I've
gut.
never heard those two words together. It's like
So-
once.
where did he grow up? I'm like, we have. He left a cave. It's so cuckoo.
Yeah.
And then when he's just like, night night, I was like, what is
No, he
happening?
went airplane mode.
What is wrong with these people?
He really shut everyone's iPhone off, and it's like, okay, no.
I feel like this episode, I was really enjoying it up until they were in the hotel and everyone
I know,
started
that's
acting
bad.
insane. I was like, what is
So-
happening?
I will say once they get to the rehab and the way Shoshana's acting in rehab is so funny, where she's just doing her like little walk back and forth in front of the desk, and woman's
Oh
like,
my God.
"Can you stop?"
Yeah.
Yeah, the receptionist woman really setting a boundary was really powerful. I'm like, good for you for telling her to walk
And
somewhere
Shoshana
else.
ignoring it completely.
Yeah.
You know what I did like? I liked when Marnie said, it's not that I wanted to go, it's that I wanted nobody to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
And I
FOMO of
thought
it
this
all.
is a really
Yeah,
authentic-
Because it's not
moment.
even like, oh, I wanted to be invited. It's like, I didn't want anyone to do this.
I want nobody to be doing this thing without me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I really relate to that being like, I'm busy today, so I can't believe anyone's doing
I was gonna
anything.
say, how do you relate to that? I feel like that's me. I feel like you've never not been doing something with people.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm doing something with people and then other people do other things.
Yes,
so I'm like, but I was
exactly.
busy today doing something, so I can't believe you guys
I'm
aren't waiting
Ashley.
until a different
Yeah.
day that I'm free to do a thing.
I have
too.
chronic FOMO. Like I literally need to be
Same.
diagnosed with it. I swear to God.
I have no FOMO, and that's why I really related to Marnie in that moment where I was just like, can't we all just do nothing?
Yeah.
We can do something tomorrow. We're not missing anything.
I feel like we related in opposite ways. Where I'm like, I want to be a part of everything.
No,
so if
literally.
everyone could just do all the
You're
things
telling me
on
the feeling
different
doesn't
days.
go away. Everyone's like, it
Yeah.
gets better. I'm like, it's not. I feel worse every day.
And if I have to like
Spiraling.
rearrange my apartment with my mom today, then everyone should be doing nothing today.
Literally, put it on pause. Put it on pause. Well, this is all. Just Shauna has the best quotes ever in this episode. The blueberry Red Bull line, where she's
Oh.
like,
Oh my God. And she'd be like, no, I haven't had any with a blue tongue. That was so good.
I cannot get over. It's kind of the perfect episode.
I know,
So
wait,
Shauna's
I
like
wrote-
smoking a cigarette with all the nurses, but like has no idea how to hold it. I
That's
can't
so
stop thinking
funny.
about this. I don't know how you guys feel, but like for Jessa she is more codependent than we ever think because she like needs someone to pick her up from rehab, even though that's not part of the requirement.
Yeah.
Right.
She hurts so much more than she ever lets on, and the whole knowledge line when she's talking to this, I cannot remember the name, the old guy.
In the
It's like-
frog shirt.
Exactly. Where Jessa's always like, I want to experience everything and I want like have a big belly full of knowledge when I'm older. But in reality, she is like somehow the most childlike.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
story when Shoshana was like, I think you're remembering it wrong. I think she was crying.
Yeah, it literally.
You're right. She really is like so codependent. I don't know that means you should be doing it though.
Yeah.
I don't know that means like I
Right.
don't know that like what Lena took from that story or Hannah takes from that story of like here's a moment in time where Jessa could not be alone and that is why we're helping break her out of her mental health wellness journey
Yeah.
to like
But I
coddle
mean-
that part of her.
At least they got her out because the guy leading the group is just trying to fuck her. So that's not going to help her. That girl's always falling into a situation of like being with an older guy and being like, I'm so chill and I get it. But then also just literally wanting to be taken care of like a little girl. And then they're like, fuck me. And she's like, no.
Why is everyone trying to fuck Jessa and not Marnie?
I know.
Because Marnie
Jessa
looks like
seems-
her bones will poke you.
Jessa just seems down.
Yeah, is that what it is?
I feel like that's the
do.
difference between girl hot and guy hot. Guy hot is like, is she down? That's what's hot about her. And Jessa
Yeah.
does seem down.
Seem down.
Whereas Marnie does not seem down.
No.
That's so true. The ending scene where it's like
Yeah.
Hannah yelling at Jessa and Jessa like,
Well, they're sisters.
I know when Jessa
Yeah.
smiles because Hannah's like, it really makes me mad that you're doing bad. Like all Jessa has been wanting for like the last 5 episodes is someone to be like since we saw her visit her dad and her dad not care, all she's wanted is somebody to care about her even a little. And so of course she like wasn't gonna do the airport because she wanted to see if her friends would come. And the fact that
Mm.
Hannah was like, I really don't want you to be doing bad. She's like, oh my God.
Well,
Somebody
Jess,
cares
yeah,
about
exactly.
me.
Well, because even before this, like you always get the sense that Jessa and Hannah always have this sister-like relationship where it's so tumultuous, but there's still such a strong connection between the
Mhm.
two of them. And then Jessa refers to Hannah as her sister to get picked up from rehab, which is like, of course, you get picked up by a sibling most of the time from rehab or like someone in your family. But then it's also kind of that additional connection where it's like it really is a spotlight on their relationship.
Yeah.
I thought it was really sweet.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, now we're gonna go fun.
Girl, get your Glock. It's rapid fire time.
Were you legally throwing away your trash?
Were I legally or illegally?
Illegally.
Illegally.
I actually take recycling and trash so serious.
Okay, I'm
It's an error.
literally the opposite. I don't.
I know, and it's like a fight we have a lot. She never recycles properly, and
I
it,
don't
it just
recycle
feels
properly
so
either.
disrespectful.
They don't
I
ever
like
recycle it.
I really think that I'm like spending my own time doing sorting for them to all lump it together.
Mm.
And I'm like, I'm not doing this if you guys aren't going to take it seriously. If I believed the city was taking it seriously, I would take it seriously.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way.
I'm often illegally throwing my trash in other people's trash.
Me too.
Tea.
Okay, wait. What's your favorite utensil?
A knife.
I think you're the first.
I would say a spoon.
I have to say, I have like a real problem right now where I have no sharp knives in my house, and you don't realize how much you love it until you lose it.
No, we're going through Knife Gate right now where we both have so many utensils, like 400 forks, 30 spoons, and 5 knives because we like keep accidentally throwing away knives.
That
We're
is
really
true.
in a
Because I'll
We're in
eat anything with my
deficit.
hands if it's already cut up,
Ooh, good.
charcuterie style.
That's actually
Charcuterie
cute.
What about a
style.
soup?
I
I guess you could drink it.
I would drink the soup.
Okay.
Tea.
Can I say I ran out of mugs and cups the other day? Oh, at my bachelorette, and I was so thirsty and hungover, and I had to drink water out of like a cereal bowl, and I actually found it
That's
much
my
more
dream.
pleasant.
I
And
love
then
doing
I was
it.
like, I'm
Yeah.
doubling down, and I drank my coffee that morning out of a cereal bowl, and it was lovely.
It's so easy.
I only need knives, and I'll drink everything drinkable out of a bowl.
Well,
I
I have
like
a big
that.
nose, so I've actually always found it hard to drink out of small cups. So then actually a bowl's really good because I can put my whole nose
Yeah.
into it.
And I like things pretty moderately temperatured.
Oh,
So
there's
it
a lot
really,
of surface area. It
Yeah.
cools it down quick.
That's so well, you're gonna find me drinking a lot of bowls at this house now.
Mary, what are you putting on your grilled pizza?
my girl pizza. Oh, okay. Goat cheese, caramelized
Ooh.
onions.
Yum.
Goat cheese and caramelized
That's
onions.
yum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe even a peach. I've been really into like cut up peaches
Yes.
this summer.
Maybe like basil
Yeah.
Yeah.
Class.
and maz. I feel I
You guys don't
know.
have to cheer for that. That's just a pizza.
I kind of just want a pizza.
That's
You
kind of my
shot your
go-to.
friend on our podcast.
I kind of just want a pizza.
Truth
Like
or
regular.
dare?
I feel like truth. I'm a truth.
I'll do truth too because we're like I'll do dare. Okay.
Okay.
Did you read Ryan Phillippe's autobiography?
I didn't know he had one. I've actually, people are always being like, what about this book? And we always know about every book. And you're the first person to ever bring a book to me that I've never actually heard of. Did you know about Ryan Phillippe's
How
book?
do you say the
No.
last name? 'Cause
Oh,
they
that
had
was
the
the joke.
debate,
Okay, I don't think it's
on the
real.
It's not real.
I don't think so, or we would have heard of it.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
true. We're coming from the source. Okay, that's perfect.
And then if there was a song playing in a car, what song playing in a car would you punch the radio to?
I like pretty bad music, so it's hard for me to say.
I have a pretty
Something good,
hard
then.
time listening to EDM anything in a non-EDM space. Like I have a couple of
Yeah.
friends who like genuinely like EDM music, and if I am in a club and like on drugs, I am fine with it. I'm like I can move around to it. But like in a car to turn that kind of music
Yeah.
on, I think after like 3 to 5 minutes, I would not be in a good
No,
spot.
I love it because I'm like always somehow baked and wired, so I'm kind of like it's kind of fills me up. At
Yeah.
the gym, I'm always listening to Witch House, and it's like I didn't know.
But I also feel like at the gym, you're like moving. It's like intensity. I feel like in a car
Rumble can
to
be
just be like,
anywhere.
well,
No.
we're just sitting still, and this music has no lyrics, and it's very intense.
I need to be singing along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate no word. I went home and babysat my sister for a weekend, and she's 11. All she listens to is EDM in the car, like no words. It's all like little kid game music, but EDM.
Oh,
and I'm like,
God.
is this what we're coming to? And she's like, it's so good. I'm like, oh,
I don't love that.
That's so funny because I feel like I'm pretty contemporary with the music, and I'm always like, what songs will my kids like that I won't be able to listen to? Your sister's
I
Yeah,
love it.
she's experimenting with being a dinosaur on TikTok. It's so hard to start 6th grade, I think.
Okay.
We're worried about you, Soph. She'll find her way. Okay.
What an amazing way.
We have to jump into our last segment now.
Is it okay? That outfit in Brooklyn, so it's kind of like a then and now cultural.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're bringing it back. We got rid of it for season 2, but people on TikTok have been begging, so we're back. Any outfits, any moments that you were like, this is so 2010. This would never happen now.
Oh my God, Marnie's okay. Oh, sorry. This is from like many
Go for it.
episodes later, but Marnie is wearing like a peplum purple, like a purple and
Yes.
yellow dress over a purple long sleeve shirt, and it's very the height
she's
of office
art
core.
gallery.
But it's like office core to the bar. It's so 2010. I don't know that anybody was wearing it back then, but definitely nobody was wearing it now.
So powerful.
Do you know what actually felt really not Brooklyn to me? Like really, it like was like a misprint, a mishap on the costume designer's part. I felt like they were all wearing extremely practical jackets for the situation.
They really were.
And I like don't feel like that's true. I think that you're like 22 years old and you're like, what? It's the fall. I'm not gonna like. I'm
You're wearing,
Well,
like,
you know what
two
happens?
pieces.
You leave at like noon to start the
Yeah.
drive, and you go, the sun's blaring, it's so hot out, it's 78 degrees, and we're walking. And then as soon as the sun goes down, you're like, well, I could have never guessed this would have happened.
Right.
Yeah.
You're always shocked
The
by
thing that happens
by
every
his
day.
sun
the
going
fact
up.
that they were wearing like windbreakers and like fleeces and had like multiple. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, no, Adam had too much winter wear for what, like, he is never even wearing a shirt.
I feel like everything's
yeah,
winter
he
for
really
him now.
strikes me as the kind of person who like would wear like shorts in the wintertime.
He's so like, I'm wearing a t-shirt and that's gonna be fine.
I feel like he's nude or like in full like parka. Yeah.
I guess.
That's his vibe.
It is funny that Shosh is like in her sneakers, sweatpants, like windbreaker, and then Hannah's in kind of like a business casual dress.
Yeah.
Being like, wait, what?
I love Jessa's earrings that are like the big swords when she's leaving rehab.
Oh, the
Oh, you kind of have
crosses?
little ones.
I have little.
swords.
You have little swords. She had big swords. Kind
Hannah-
I'm a little Jessa.
of.
Hannah was wearing like, they looked like Claire's like chunky airplane studs. It was so girly. I said
What a
yes.
good
girl.
memory. And this American Life podcast, when Hannah just immediately starts listening to it during
Yeah,
the
that made
hike,
me laugh.
That was so funny. And it's the radio version too. Which is, I guess, the version now would be like it's mostly podcast.
I guess, do we
Yeah.
believe she's listening to that?
Yeah,
Or do we
good
think she would want
question.
to?
I think she's like, I'm gonna become an academic while you
Yeah.
guys hike. But
Yeah.
she's never listened. This is her first episode.
I think there was less things to listen to.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's so
That's
many
so true.
podcasts. It's just like actually that was kind of one of the first things you could listen to.
It'd be so funny if she turned on like Pete Holmes. You made it weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else.
I think the quirky,
Jessa
yeah.
had like, you know, the classic like girls used to wear big t-shirts but tie them with a hairband in the back. Jessa had a knot. I was like, "Ugh, I miss those days.
I did that
still do
yesterday
that.
because I'm turning everything into a tube top for
I agree.
sun strap purposes. I'm too scared. I was like wearing a t-shirt. I was wearing a camisole upside down and then also inside out, it turned out. But
I like
Once
my
it's
midriff
upside
to be
down.
at free at all times.
Yeah.
Like I'll make anything into like midriff friendly, and that's really important.
Yeah.
and we need to do that. What
Say
else? Is there
that.
anything? I guess it's kind of like there's not that much happening in this episode.
I mean, the Maroon 5
Maroon 5.
classic.
Oh, do you guys remember what the text Adam Levine
Oh yeah, we were trying to
sent?
remember. You know how Adam Levine got
It's
canceled?
like, you look so hot, girl, or something.
Something about
No,
like
he
the
asked if
booty. Like I want to.
I thought he said that he wanted to name his new daughter after that girl.
Yeah, but when one of the texts that like became a meme when she like leaked all of their messages together was one of him being like the booty so nice or something like that.
Something like that. So silly.
Are men okay?
I think no one say another word on the podcast like that.
Men okay scene. No, did you guys you guys read memoirs? So you haven't read like book of essays, Lena? Or
Yes, we
you?
have.
We have.
What was everybody go find it first of all, but what are your thoughts on Lena overall?
I think actually a lot like what we were saying here, that nothing she does feels authentic because she's always like shock jockeying authenticity. It's like I have like a merch shirt from my friend Ian Fidance. Go check him out or whatever. But the shirt literally says comedy up your ass. And I almost think that's Lena. She's like, truth up your dick. Like, she's just like, oh, you don't think I'll go there? I'll fucking freak you out. You know what I mean? She's like, I like to like pick boogers out my vagina and eat it. What? Nobody admits it. But I'm just like, I don't actually think that's true, Lena.
And I also wonder, like, okay, listen, I feel like a lot of people have like crazy intrusive thoughts or whatever. Like you'll like think something and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I thought that. And she'll have like an insane intrusive thought and be like, that's so fucked up that I thought that. I have to turn that into an essay about how I think the most fucked up things. And it's like, you don't.
No,
that's not what you think either. It's just like a thought that passed through your brain. You know what I mean? Like people think crazy shit all the time. That's not like true to your thoughts. And then the other thing about her book that is so interesting is she is so interested in the approval of men and like how she sees herself in the eyes of men, and like every single era of her life is like defined by who is or isn't dating her and like in love with her and attracted to her.
Wait, really? That sucks.
Yes. It was like genuinely disappointing.
Because, you know, when you think Lena, you think she doesn't care about that at all even.
Oh, yeah, the girl who gave herself up like the hottest boyfriend in her 5-season show. Yeah, she doesn't care about male approval. That's why she wrote herself like a dreamboat boyfriend over 6 feet. Do you know how rare those are in New York City?
For Hannah Horvath to get one? Yeah, fucking right.
Especially
with that haircut in Brooklyn.
Literally.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, I do think it's a thing that a lot of us fall into. I was like reading, there's a New York Times article this weekend about how the 7th grader created an Instagram account like that was in Albany, California, and it's like 3% black, 25% Asian, 50% white, and he kept making these racist jokes. He didn't really even intend to be one off-color joke, and his friends really reacted to it positively. So he made a Finsta account where he kept posting like racist jokes about the girls in school, or like posting photos of lynchings, and which is so dark, of course, terrible. But then he talks about it. He's like, I didn't even really enjoy posting it, but it made some of my friends laugh, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And he's like in 8th, 7th grade. So he's just like, I think Lena's kind of experienced something similar where she got positive validation after saying something so shocking and just kind of continued doing that.
Well, I think Lena succeeded in the same system that allowed like the blood girl to succeed.
Yeah.
Who's the blood girl?
You know, bad blood.
Taylor Swift?
No.
The girl who like ate her tampon?
No, the billionaire who created a business that was fake.
Oh, Elizabeth Holmes.
Elizabeth Holmes.
Bad blood girl. We had actually
Sorry, the book about her was called Bad Blood. But anyway, my point is, I feel like when you are like shocking and loud, a lot of times like the systems that do not allow like most 25-year-old women to come in and write a TV show meets one, and they go, well, I've never met another 25-year-old girl, so this must represent all of them.
Totally.
Oh, that's kind of why you didn't watch the show.
Yeah.
Thank you guys
Thank you
so much for
much.
being on. We were so excited that you guys are coming on, and it was kind of perfect.
Thank you guys so much for
Thank you
having
for having us.
Guys, check out their Patreon. Do you guys release a new page? Like, what's your spiel?
Every Thursday, a Patreon. Every Tuesday, a regular episode.
50 weeks a year, and we never take a week off the
Ooh.
Patreon. Not
We
even on my
are
honeymoon, we're going to post one.
sick.
So
We have an
crazy for that.
illness.
I would love freedom.
So check it out, and we'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye.